This is the entry-level Ford, the simple, no-nonsense one, and the cheapest Ford you can buy.
But it's not a Fiesta. It's the Fiesta's new, smaller brother. Called the Ka Plus, it uses the Fiesta's underpinnings and is of similar size, but it fits below it and is around £4,000 cheaper. Think of it as a Fiesta Minus, and you're thinking along the right lines.
That feeling continues in here as well, because the Ka's dashboard looks very similar to the Fiesta's, but it's not quite there in design, nor is it there in quality. The plastics up here are a bit shiny, and down here, the plastic around this gear lever is actually quite horrible. Having said that, this is a cheap car, and you've got to expect that. There is pretty decent storage. We've got a fairly large glove box here for a packet of crisps. We've got not 2 but 4 cup holders down here, which is, I've never really seen that before. And whilst the door bins down here don't pass the Carbuyer big bottle test, they're still very large. Comfort wise, it's very easy to get comfortable with the height adjustable driver's seat, although having said that, the steering wheel only adjusts up and down, not in and out.
The Ka Plus comes in just 2 flavours. Studio covers all the basics with electric windows, air conditioning, Bluetooth with USB and aux inputs, electric mirrors, an alarm and front fog lamps. Meanwhile, Z-Tech adds alloys, a leather steering wheel, a DAB radio and sync voice recognition.
Much like the Vauxhall Viva and the Renault Twingo, the Ford Ka Plus only comes with 5 doors, which is great if you've got a young family, because it means you've got a lot easier access to the rear seats. So access to those child seats with ISOFIX points is a lot easier. The doors even open quite wide as well. When you're in here, now that driving seat is set up in my position. I'm just under 5'10", and I've got a good amount of knee room. Headroom is okay, and Ford has raised the 2 front seats, allowing you to put your feet underneath them for that extra bit of comfort. You can even fit 3 people as well, and when the person in the middle is actually sitting here, they've even got a decent amount of shoulder room as well. Round at the boot, well, things don't get off to a particularly good start by the fact there's no exterior release, there's no handle to actually open the boot. You either have to press a button on the centre console or press it on the key fob. Once it's opened, it actually reveals a pretty good sized boot. Very good for the city car class. Now, for an idea of size, the boot is only 10 litres less than the Ford Fiesta. If we just grab the Carbuyer suitcase, you'll see that there's a good amount of space on offer. Easily enough space for some shopping and a suitcase. Let's just take that out for a second. And under here, you'll see we've even got space for a space saver spare wheel. And of course, you can make the entire boot that little bit larger with these split fold rear seats. The only problem we've got there is the fact that there's a step between the back seat and the boot floor. But considering this is a city car, I can overlook that.
As it's the entry-level Ford, you won't find any of the interesting engines, and nor is there the excellent little 1-litre turbo petrol from the Fiesta. The Ka Plus makes do with a very conventional 1.2-litre petrol, developing 69 bhp in the Studio and 84 bhp in the Z-Tech. It's not particularly fast or eager to make any decent progress, but it is smooth, quiet and can easily return over 50 mpg. We averaged around 51 mpg over 400 miles.
Hopefully you're thinking of the Ka Plus as a Fiesta Minus, because now we come on to the driving experience and it's very Fiesta-ish. By that I mean the steering is lovely and accurate, is also very light, and the whole car handles very much like its larger brother. The only real difference is the fact that the body tends to roll a little bit more in corners. Having said that, it is more comfortable on the road than the Fiesta.
It's not just the engine that's quiet. Despite this being a basic small car, there's plenty of sound insulation and little tyre and wind noise enter the cabin. The suspension is soft and the controls a delight to use. Overall, it puts some more expensive and smaller city cars to shame for comfort.
It's a perfectly decent car as the Ford Ka Plus. It doesn't sort of impress you like a Skoda Citigo or put a smile on your face like the Renault Twingo, but much like the Vauxhall Viva, this is a very functional car. In many respects, it does feel like a car from the class above and not like a budget city car. In many ways it feels like your typical old Ford, much like the original Ford Ka in fact, because the whole car feels very sophisticated for the price Ford is charging for it. The only thing that lets it down is the engine. The whole package is strong, but it's the engine where it really falls down. It just feels a little bit too strained and disinclined to actually get you moving, which is a bit of a shame. In many ways, I really do wish Ford had actually put the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol in this, because it would be an absolute hoot. But if they did do that, then Ford would probably be losing sales of the Fiesta to this.
While the performance is adequate, the same can't be said for the styling. The new Ka Plus is a far cry from the original Ford Ka from 20 years ago, and it looks particularly awkward from some angles. But it's a different car, and it fills a different remit. Think of it as a cheap way into super mini motoring, and the dull styling suddenly becomes irrelevant.
The Ka Plus then, is it the city car you should be rushing out and buying? Well, if you like your city cars to be cute and cuddly, then probably not, because it's a far cry from the original of 20 years ago. However, if you're on a budget and you can't quite stretch to a Fiesta, then it's definitely worth a look. It's practical and appealing in its own honest way.
To check out its rivals, watch our reviews of the Skoda Citigo on the left or of the Vauxhall Viva on the right. Click at the top for our latest video and on our logo to subscribe.